All right, let's dive into a poem that I think is going to hit home for a lot of us. It's all about those conversations we have with ourselves, when the world finally shuts up and there's just no place left to hide.
And boom, right away the poem just drops you into that moment. It's not just about being alone, right? It's about being in that space where you can't fake it anymore. The world's noise is gone, all the filters are down, and you're left with this raw, unavoidable, super honest chat with you.
So that really sets the stage for our first big idea here, the midnight dialogue. This is where we get introduced to the main character in all of this, our true, unfiltered self. The poem calls this our shadow self. And look, that might sound a little dark or spooky, but it's not really about being sinister or evil. It's just the real you, the unvarnished, no-polish version. It's the part of you that knows exactly what you're afraid of, what you really want, and it's the one that asks those tough questions we are pros at dodging all day long. And this is where you really see that split, right? That divide we all live with. On one hand, you've got your public self, the one who wears the smile, who's always strong, who says all the right things. But then there's the shadow self. That's the one who waits until everything's quiet, leans in, and whispers, "Hey, you really okay?" It's that voice of doubt that creeps in the second the curtain falls on your daily performance. And all that tension has to go somewhere. Which leads us perfectly into our next section, the cracks in the crown. This is all about the incredible weight of keeping up that public face. And, the fragility that's hiding just underneath it all.
I love this metaphor the poem uses. That smile we wear, it's not just a smile, it's a crown. It's this symbol of being in control, of having it all together. But we all know crowns are heavy, right? And they're designed for everyone else to see.
But then, and this is so good, the poem just rips that image of power right out from under you. What good is a crown if you don't have solid ground to stand on? It's such a powerful way to describe that feeling of being completely overwhelmed. Like you're drowning, just trying to keep that smile on straight. And this ties right back to that voice we heard before, doesn't it? The one whispering, "You're losing pieces every day." It's like every single day you put on that heavy crown, a little piece of the real you gets chipped away, all to keep the show going.
So, what happens when all that pressure just keeps building and building?
Well, you get this internal standoff, which is exactly what our next section is about, hope versus fear. And here it is, the internal tug of war just laid out for us to see. In one corner, you have that little hopeful lie you tell yourself. It's fine, you'll be all right. It's like your personal survival mantra. But in the other corner, you have that nagging fear, that truth you can feel in your bones. You're losing pieces. And the genius of the poem is that it shows how, in the middle of the night, both of those things can feel 100% true at the exact same time.
Okay, so this fight inside, it actually leads to a really important turning point. We stop just suffering quietly, and we start asking questions. This brings us to the unasked questions.
And this first question, man, it changes everything. It's this moment of pushing back against the idea that the public you, the one with the crown and the smile, is all there is. It's that little whisper of, hey, maybe there's more to me than this. Then the next question builds on that, and it goes even deeper. It's not just about what you're hiding. It's this kind of scary but also kind of exciting thought that maybe there are whole parts of you that you haven't even been introduced to yet. And then we get to the last question, and this one is a total game changer. It completely reframes the whole idea of pain. What if it's not some weakness you have to hide? What if all that pain is actually the very thing that's made you grow? It's this incredible idea that the struggles we work so hard to cover up are really the source of our greatest strength.
All right, so where do all these huge questions lead? They take us to the poem's powerful ending, and our final section, Seeing in the Dark. So after all that doubting and questioning and wrestling with ourselves, it all boils down to this one simple, stark choice. Real freedom, according to this poem, isn't about running away from your shadow self. It's not about winning the fight. It's just turning around and finally facing it.
The end of the poem almost feels like a little guide, a 3-step plan. Step 1, acknowledge the struggle. Just stop pretending that inner voice isn't there. Step 2, use the darkness. Don't be afraid of the quiet. It's actually where you can find some clarity. And finally, step 3, find your truth. In that silence, you can finally figure out what's really right for you, without the noise of what everyone else wants.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. The speaker keeps having these midnight talks, not because they love the drama, but because they figured something out.
The point was never to shut that voice up or crush the fear. The goal was to just listen, to understand, and to finally see clearly in the only place you really can, in the dark.
And that really brings us to the end of this journey. The poem basically just holds up a mirror and leaves us with a question to take into our own quiet moments. So I'll leave you with this. What truths do you only see when the world finally goes dark?